So, the series we are together working on to become a seeker. So, our journey is now to become a seeker. So, in the first lesson, we understood that the mind lives in 5 subjective states. And the fourth state, what we normally translate as a one-pointedness of the mind. So, this one-pointedness of the mind is not normally understood as a concentrated or a focused state. So, in order to be one-pointed and to be a seeker, we discussed in the second topic that how to become a human being. Do you still remember? I have to think. I have to. No, I like you and I hate you. I don't think what it means by I like and I hate you. So when you start contemplating on these words that govern our mind and dictate our life, you will say, why? There is nothing to be liked upon and disliked upon. So that demands your intellect to work on. We take it for granted. We take it for granted. We follow the mob. Do you know who said if you repeat the untruth or false 100,000 times, it becomes true? I don't want to name that guy. You already know it. So, because the mind is subjected, heavily conditioned by these thoughts and ideas. So, if I do not think over it, I take it for granted, and the mind falls into ignorance. Then the third comes, we understood the good work alone is not enough. Do you remember? No, I have been very kind to you. What happened to me? I am still in stress. So those who fall in love because of the attachment, then they suffer. I love you, but do you really love me the way I love you? No, because I'm attached. I'm ready to exploit you because you fall in love. It's very easy to exploit. Do you see that? So then we are good people and we find what we find. Oh, I'm so good. I have been very kind. I sacrificed everything for others. But no. So the knowledge is required. And in the last week, we understood what exactly is evolving, and to be evolved. Leave aside all the religion, even leave it the yoga, meditation, etc. Understand that part. That the nature is evolving, is it not? So figure out what is evolved. Body and the nervous system is fully evolved. What is evolving? Mind is evolving. So if the mind evolves from the body and the matter, it means there must be something hidden in the mind to be evolved, and that is what the real self is. Are you getting it? So you have to listen to it and apply that in your life. Now, today's will help you remove lot of misconceptions. We have a couple of yoga teachers also. So I will reproduce the teachings of Sri Aurobindo, one of the great masters. So what is that? He says there are 4 helpers. So these 4 helpers and the 4 aids help you to reach to what we discussed about the one-pointed state of the mind that makes you a seeker. What are these 4? first is the knowledge. Knowledge of the Eastern wisdom. See that you are living in anxiety and stress and suffering. So you go to with due respect to the science also, I'm not criticizing. So you go to a psychiatrist and psychotherapist, well, they say, oh, they dig every day, every time you go to them, they ask you, what about your anxiety? Did you have little, 5% or 10%? They only talk of anxiety. They don't have a different perspective. That, come on, the peace is your essential nature. See that. Now, if you do not study the Eastern wisdom, you don't have the knowledge that the peace and happiness are my essential nature, you don't get a different perspective. You don't have any perspective. So to change the perspective in the mind, the first helper is to learn the principles and the practices of the Eastern wisdom. Clear? Now, what is this principles of the Eastern wisdom? Where it lies? But let us first understand the four helpers. The first is the knowledge, the body of the knowledge of Eastern wisdom, and the second is the utsaha. Utsaha means zeal, enthusiasm. Or you can say a patient, persistent effort and action on the lines of the knowledge. Did you get it? If I don't have an enthusiasm, if I teach with eyes closed, okay, now you can do the meditation. So definitely you will say, he is already suffering. Why should I attend his session? Two things. First is the knowledge, second is the enthusiasm, and the third is the teacher. Whether it is a teacher or any person uplifting the knowledge and effort of a seeker into the domain of your experience, your direct suggestion. The teacher, you are embracing the teachings of any teacher, which is uplifting, which helps you by example. And the fourth is the time. You see the four helper? Fourth is the time, the third is the teacher, the second is the zeal, enthusiasm, and the first one is the body of the knowledge. Now, where the knowledge lies, understand you have to think of it again and again so that your intellect is clear, your mind becomes pure. So what the Eastern wisdom says, the entire Eastern wisdom says that this knowledge is located in the heart of every thinking and living being. Are we a thinking human being? And now I'm adding another sentence. Pay attention to it. Have you heard about Kundalini? Obviously, a lot of teachers are there. Kundalini, 6 petals. Where are the 6 petals are located? Lotus, 6 petals, color of a lotus. Now, with you, now I'm using that word, pay attention. The lotus of knowledge is a bud closed and folded up within us. Did you get it? Don't start thinking, my 6 petal lotus awakened and you're only 4 petal lotus awakened. So I'm at a higher level than you. My lotus petals are yellow in color, yours in red in color, so you have more problem. Mine is yellow in color. So we are not talking of that. Get out of this. Symbolism conveys the masses in the knowledge. So what is the first principle? First principle is the knowledge. Where the knowledge is located? Inside the heart. Inside my heart. Inside your heart. It is not that it is only located in my heart and it is not located in your heart. So we have to implant it. Did you understand the meaning? The lotus of that knowledge is a bud closed and folded up within us. That is why we are not a seeker. Got it? Now understand this. So that lotus swiftly and gradually opens up, petal by petal, through understanding, through practice. Once you are becoming a seeker. So what is that opening means? Opening means now your mind is no longer confined by the attachment. Did you get it? Huh? It is not limited and confined by the attachment. It is not getting influenced and dictated by the things like likes and dislikes, pain and pleasure of the world outside. First, we understand this, and then we will use the second part. So, first is that knowledge. Knowledge is like a bud. Petal needs to be opened. Why they are not opened? They are not open because of attachment, because of desire, because of seeking pleasure outside. So there are lot of stuff the mind has accumulated. So what is the secret there? Why the teacher is constantly speaking about the real self? So we say that you choose the real self, and the real self will choose you. You choose anxiety, the anxiety will choose you. He who chooses the real self has been chosen by the real self. When I choose the real self, I receive the touch without which there is no awakening of, this bud of lotus. So again, I am repeating in a one way. First principle, I must receive the knowledge. Now see, I don't understand. So let me understand it again. Let me understand it again. I don't understand you. Don't understand me. Understand the knowledge. Hammer your intellect until that understanding enters into you. No, I'm living in anxiety. I carry the burden of entire world on my shoulder. What should I do? Jump into an ocean. That is the only alternative. Now you're a seeker, so I have to be little tough. Jump into an ocean. What else you can do? So when I choose the real self, that bud of the knowledge starts opening up. Step by step. Second, what we say, the guru or the teacher, there is no need to learn from a teacher. There are many people. There are many great masters who did not have a teacher. They reached to that. Why? The knowledge is located deep inside the heart. But we need to have that knowledge. So what happens when you learn from a teacher who simply personalizes the teaching by example, by influence, and by the principles? Three things: by example, by influence, and by principles of the Eastern wisdom. That is why the teacher is an instrument. Teacher is an instrument for you to become a seeker. Nothing less than that, nothing more than that. one of the great masters who is known as the Lord of Yoga, whose name is Dattatreya. He made 24 teachers. Earth was his teacher. The snake was his teacher. Now I'm not deviating, but just I'm giving you. One day we will talk about it, what it means. He made Earth as a teacher, the snake as a teacher, the space as a teacher. What it means. So if we have that level of awareness by which we can learn from every incident, you don't need a human teacher, but the teacher is required. So now see that knowledge and the teacher combine this. First principle, first aid or first helper is the knowledge. Where the knowledge is? It is located in the heart of everyone. How? As a bud. I have to open it. So, first, the opening can be done, can be helped by the teacher. We teachers have a representative influence. That is all. Not more than that. But in the life of a seeker, as you continue to listen, contemplate, and reflect, then it becomes an easy process. It becomes an easy process. It is not that you need to look at my beard, longer the beard, greater the wisdom, and then I have to learn it. No. You have to focus on the knowledge part. Knowledge part. Leave aside the shape, size, color, expression. Focus on the knowledge. That is what the teacher does. Two things. Third. Where is the third one? Third one is the jeel, the utsaha, the enthusiasm. Master Aurobindo writes, I want to quote that. The ideal seeker should be able to say in a biblical phrase, there is a biblical phrase, my zeal for the Lord has eaten me up. Do you see that? My zeal for the Lord has eaten me up. It is this zeal for the Lord that is required, the intense aspiration within. We have intense desire, the craving and obsession. So now the obsession is turned inward. I'm anxious to know about the real self. The heart's eagerness for the attainment of the real self. So when I have an intense aspiration for the real self, what happens? It kills our ego. It kills our attachment. It breaks up all the limitations caused in the mind. We experience the sense of freedom. We should have an intense aspiration. So now you see the knowledge is first and the representative influenced by the teacher. You get the same thing. Your mind moves into the fourth state. That is one-pointedness. Your intellect sharpens. Intellect leaves likes and dislikes, attachment and detachment. It doesn't worry about it. So you are ready to open the petal by petal, the knowledge of the bud. In Kundalini, we talk about, Brandy may tell you that six petals or 10 petals, 12 petals. I even forgot it. So every petal represents one state of knowledge. So if I start thinking and start practicing, all these petals starts opening up. It removes that ignorance. So three things: the teacher, the knowledge, third is the jeel. What about the time? What about the time? Why we say time? Now see why many people leave. They join. They say, no, I like you, but everything is okay. I don't want to attend. Don't attend. So what is this time? Time is needed for the effectivity of the process. Time presents itself to a human effort as an enemy or friend, as a resistance, a medium, or an instrument. Are you getting it? Time, field of consciousness. Time is a field of circumstances and the forces meeting and working out a resultant progression, and it measures. Now, see, understand from a different point of view. To the ego, it is a resistance. To the real self, it is an instrument. Did you understand it? Pay attention, think of it. To the ego, it is a resistance. Ego says, I have understood, I did the practice. What happened? Nothing happened. Nothing will happen to you. Why you are thinking in that way? So to the ego, it is a resistance. But to the real self, it is an instrument. How you want to use the time. Think of it.
I can't connect to the Wi-Fi network.
I know that.
Check the connection settings.
So while our effort is personal, time appears as a resistance. Pay attention. Think of it again and again. What happens? Time appears as a resistance means I have a problem of ego. How to get rid of that? Understand the principle again and again. Listening to the teacher, do the practice again and again. But the moment your mind says time is an instrument for me, 90% of the problems will go away. All the resistance to become a seeker will drop. I believe you all are getting it. Time. So use the time as a resistance or use the time as an instrument. So what it means? I said, no, I did not succeed in meditation. Master told me, go back again, practice again. So I'm using another time as an instrument. No, I will not do it. This meditation practice doesn't suit me. As if it is a shirt or a trouser. It doesn't suit you. It doesn't fit you. We have to pay attention to understanding. I'm not going into any dogma belief. So what it means? Seeker's lifetime means the endless patience. Endless patience. Because I am going to discover the highest existence, that is real self. So I have an endless patience. Today I fail. Tomorrow I will definitely succeed. With that idea in the mind, when we work, we enter into the fourth state of the mind, and that makes us a seeker. So see that. 4, think of it. Think of it again. Eastern wisdom, the knowledge of the Eastern wisdom. I don't know physics. I have to put the knowledge of the physics in my head. So simple. So I don't know understanding about the real self. Let me put the knowledge of the real self. So if that knowledge is placed in my head by a teacher, if you feel better by yourself, still much better. Why to go with a teacher if you can do that? But the teacher personalizes the teaching by example, by influence, by the principle. And the third principle, the zeal. I should have that level of enthusiasm, patient and persistent work. So, should I leave all my profession? I'm earning money, and sometime I pay you. One student from Eastern Europe told me that if I don't earn, how can I pay you? How can you give a lesson? Think of it. It is totally in a different dimension. So, third is patient and persistent effort, and the fourth is the time. Now, answer to this question, that should I leave everything and focus on this? No. Internally, you are as a seeker 24/7. If you are married, you are not a husband 24/7 inside, or a wife. You are not an IT expert, Daniel, 24/7. But when you express it outside, then it becomes a particular job and a profession. Again, go back. Do I live with an awareness that I have to find the real self? Real self, are you working in this IT profession? Real self, are you working as a teacher? Real self, I am simply, that awareness is required. With that awareness, the knowledge starts entering into you. So these are the 4 aids. Think of it. And if you have any issue, tell me. We will have questions. If you even send the questions by email, I will like to answer it. That's what I am doing. So with that idea and understanding, so let us start our practice.